Hey, what's going on out there, you guys? It's your girl, Pretty Sexy Jara, the brand, aka Stoner Assassin, back to you all live with, of course, another review slash recap of season 7, episode 3 of the Bell Collective, which this episode is titled Squabble Up Bella. And if you know, you know from episode 2, Run That Bell, baby, the ladies were at Selena's birthday party and a big commotion had broke out. So I guess we're gonna pick up in episode 3 from the ending of episode 2 and let's see what is finna go on in the collective in episode 3. Okay? Child, didn't I tell y'all we was gonna pick back up at the party? And of course, things is going wild. Words have been exchanged. Miss Letitia has jumped at Miss Latrice. Baby, everybody trying to see what is the issue, what is the problem, how did we even get here to this point? And baby, it's because Miss Letitia was supposed to be reached out to one of Miss Latrice's employees. And baby, Miss Selena's 50th birthday party has turned into a show, but I don't think it was the kind of show she was expecting. And baby, the way Glenn they came outside trying to get to his woman, and Latrice got the crowd of people riled up around her. Okay, episode 3. I see we opening up with a fire and a bang. And so while all the commotion is going on in the party, it's so many people trying to talk to Miss Letitia, to Miss Latrice. Baby, we pulled Miss Latrice to the side and we got Dr. Monroe asking her, like, where's the proof? Can we see the proof? And Latrice is asking her, are you all gonna hold y'all friend accountable for what she's done? Talking to my employees, going behind my back. It's just getting very messy. Miss Carrie is trying to calm things down. She's like, this is not how Selena's 50th birthday party is supposed to be going. And baby, can we just go back and party? And you can tell this affected our girl, Miss Letitia, a lot because we get a interview scene of her, describing how she felt after this action between her and Miss Latrice and just how emotional she is and how she's crying shows. This may go a different type of way for the collective. So yes, y'all. It's the day after the party. We're catching up with Miss Letitia. She's at home doing some work, and she is talking on the phone with her mentor, who we seen in episode 1 of In Poetic Justice. Um, and just like how she's moving forward after the craziness of last night. But while she's doing work, her husband Glenn calls to check in on her, and of course, they recap about the party, what happened, and she said those girls were trying to jump on her. Okay, the girls were trying to jump. I don't think that, but okay, her perspective from what happened. And then the next thing you know, they get off the phone and we get a knock at the door, and it is our girl, Miss Monroe, coming to check in on Miss Letitia, see how she's doing, see how she is feeling. And baby, let's just say they jump right on to the tea about the party and all the madness. And the next thing you know, while they're having their conversation, Miss Letitia's friend come, Mrs. Chantel. She comes in with flowers. She greets, and baby, they jump right back into this conversation. And Miss Chantel calls out Dr. Monroe for not having Miss Letitia's back. But we go back and we see a couple scenes where she actually was trying to prevent Miss Latrice from putting her hands on Miss Letitia and actually trying to stop because she was like, this don't need to go on with the collective. And I was like, clock it. And she got Miss Chantel kind of together because Miss Chantel was just trying to make it seem like Miss Monroe was just not trying to do anything. And baby, let's just say our girl Miss Letitia said, let's be very clear. She appreciates everyone having her back, but she didn't need nobody to have her back because the situation wasn't calling for all that in a way that she's covered and protected by He Almighty that favors us all. Amen. Hallelujah, Jesus. Praise. She ends the conversation with the ladies, and we do get a little flashback of Miss Marie saying, like, when she was into it with Latrice, look, Miss Letitia wasn't there, and Miss Letitia like she was in the middle. Baby, the collective is collectiving, okay? But y'all, as we go to our next scene, we are going to our girl Miss Latrice's home, and baby, it looks like we finna get us a little shindig. So yes, y'all. We have arrived to Miss Latrice's home, and baby, she is throwing a party for Miss Selena since her whole incident with Miss Letitia. And baby, the first guest to arrive is Miss Tamara Cherie, and then after Tamara is Miss Monroe. And while the ladies are inside of Miss Latrice's house, pulls up the birthday girl herself, Miss Selena. They've already got the cake lit with the candle in it. She knocks on the door. She comes in. The ladies scream, "Happy birthday!" Surprise. And she sits down, blows out a candle, have a little cute girl talk. But then we move over to Miss Latrice's living room, and she shares with the group, well, with Miss Monroe, that she had a blood clot and that Tamara and Miss Selena was by her side, and she appreciates them for being there, and just about how she learned how serious they really are, and how she was admitted to the hospital and how she had to think about her life. And that's when Miss Monroe said, life is too short for all the bickering and fighting. She said, and what happened at Miss Selena's party between you and Miss Letitia was just like animals in the wild. And Latrice said, she just can't trust Miss Letitia. She don't know how to feel about her after this whole situation. And the collective asks her, can she be able to be around her? She said, of course she can, as long as her husband don't say nothing to her. She's good. And Miss Tamara says, we're a collective. We can't be like this. And I'm like, yes, girl, we can't. We can't be falling out and having all this drama. So yes, y'all. We are on our way down to the coast with Miss Carrie, baby. And we are inside of her lovely home. We see her husband, her kids, and baby, she gets to drop in, pop in by her mom and her dad, and we get to see the family dynamic and the relationship and the closeness that Miss Carrie has with her mother and father, which is very sweet to see because we find out that her dad was her basketball coach and that her mom actually opened a business before women were even thinking about having a business. So we see where Miss Carrie gets her ambition and driven passion from and determination to just keep going. But after that, we send the kids off, and the grown people go have conversation. And Miss Carrie sits down and she shares with her mom and dad about what happened at Miss Selena's party with the Bells, the friendship as it is expanding, and about her restaurant in Alabama, Brick and Spoon, and how it is not doing so well right now. And she gets very emotional talking about it, but her mom tells her, it's just a lesson and sell it. Hey, she got two businesses that are flourishing in Mississippi, so why not just focus on them? And even her husband is in agreement with her parents. And Miss Carrie was like, well, I just want to have a moment. Okay, I get it, girl. You being work hard, you like, oh, I'm here, everybody don't get it. But I get it. I see you, Miss Carrie. But y'all, as we go from that scene to our next scene, so yes, y'all. As we get into our next scene, it is our girl Miss Letitia, and she and her mother are cleaning a paint class or pottery paint class. And so yes, y'all. As we get into our next scene, baby, it is our girl Miss Latrice, and she is making dinner for her husband because he is coming back home today from his trip from Colombia, and she called over her girl Amanda to help her in the kitchen because she said she don't really cook that often, but she know Amanda can throw down, so that's why she called her girl over to make sure she's preparing and making everything right. Come to find out, our girl Miss Latrice had some old potatoes, and she was like, she's still gonna cook them, mashed potatoes for her man with steak. I was like, okay, but he comes in while Miss Amanda and Latrice are talking, and baby, she is so happy to see her husband. She runs up to the door, hugs him, And she said, "Babe, you look a little tan. What you been doing?" And he said, "I've been on the beach. I've been relaxing." And he said, "You called me telling me all this drama that happened at the party, and you stooping to the levels, and we ain't supposed to be doing this as a collective. We supposed to be building a legacy." And I'm like, somebody, thank you. Keep reminding the group that this is not supposed to be a destroy thing. This is supposed to be we're going to build, we're inspire, we're going to build a community of generational wealth for people in the city. And I'm glad that Glenn was able to, have this conversation with Miss Latrice because she seems like she's just already on the go. Okay, like she's just on it. Okay, but she does say and tell him like this is gonna be your last steak, babe. This is gonna be your last mashed potato because we're gonna start our healthy kick journey after my health scare. He said, "No, we not." He said he's been eating steak all his life. He gonna continue to eat steak. But y'all, as we go from that scene to our next scene, so yeah, shit, y'all. As we get into our closing scene, baby, we are back at Miss Letitia's home, and her and her husband Glenn are going to sit down and have a conversation about their relationship, how he feels things are, and also ask some questions that have been pondering in his mind about their relationship, about like does she really still want to be married to him? Does she want to be a wife? And let's just say Miss Letitia has a real deal conversation, and she's just like, I've been the wife, I've been the caretaker. Look, I want to build my own brand. I want to go off into my own success. And Glenn shares with us that he only feels like he's only around for when he gets paid and when she get horny. Because he's like, that's the only time he ever gets some. And I think what is happening is that two people are going in two different directions in their lives. And I think one person is very concerned that the other person is going to leave them behind when that may not even necessarily be the case. And she said she just wants to protect her energy. And she throws out the ideal to him of being celibate. And why did she throw that out? Because he gets up. He's like, "So you telling me you don't want to fuck with your husband? You don't want to sleep with your husband?" And it's not that. She says she wants to have clarity, and she said she wants to not be brain fogged while being brain fogged. And I was like, T. And for him to even get upset and just walk out and not even let her finish explaining, it's kind of wild. But next thing you know, he go gets in his truck and he's like, he don't want to hear it, and he's finna leave. And we see our girl Miss Letitia calling his phone. Bell Collective, and then we get dot 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 to be continued. Episode 3 of season 7. Bell Collective. Child. It has been your girl, Pretty Sexy Driver Brand, aka Stone Sexy. Until next time, you guys, we are out. Y'all be safe. Much love. Peace.